When a person you care about decides not to pay attention to you, it can be a deeply painful and frustrating experience. It's important to understand that when someone ignores us, it is rarely an accident. It is, in most cases, a conscious decision. This type of behavior can make you feel rejected, hurt and confused, especially when strong feelings are involved. Studies have shown that being ignored or rejected activates the same areas of the brain as physical pain, as if you received an unexpected blow. So, it's not just an emotional thing. It's real pain. Tangible. Imagine that you're sharing meaningful moments with someone, or even loving deeply, and suddenly that person decides to walk away. The feeling of emptiness and the uncertainty of not knowing what's going on can be devastating. It is common that, when facing this situation, we start questioning ourselves. Was it something I said, something I did? It is a natural human response to try to find a cause in oneself. But sometimes the truth can be more complex than it appears at first glance. These types of situations require a deep understanding of what may be going through the other person's mind and, more importantly, what they are not thinking. It may be that the person is dealing with their own internal conflicts, or that they simply don't know how to handle their emotions, and decide to withdraw rather than face them. It's important to remember that the fact that someone chooses to ignore you doesn't always reflect your value as a person, but rather that person's internal challenges and their inability to manage the relationship in a healthy way. When a person suddenly decides to ignore you, it can be hard not to think it was something you said or did. However, the real question is whether it really has that much relevance. And let's break it down to better understand the situation. There are many ways in which someone you have an emotional connection with can pull away. You might send them a message and never receive a response, or worse, you might see that they've been active on their social networks and still don't respond. That's silent confirmation that he's seen your attempt at contact, but decided not to respond. It can be heartbreaking, especially if your feelings for that person run deep. This type of behavior can make you feel helpless, confused, and heartbroken. It's not just the silence, but the certainty that, despite being there, that person has consciously chosen not to answer you. This can lead you into a whirlwind of thoughts, looking for explanations and answers to something that may not be related to you at all. There are two main reasons why someone might choose to ignore you. The first, though less common, occurs when that person is deeply interested or involved with you in something you did or said. In these cases, silence is a way to protect yourself, a way to deal with the pain. However, in these cases it is usually quite obvious what has happened. You will know exactly what the wound was and where it came from. If, on the other hand, you find yourself constantly wondering if you did something wrong, and you have no clear clue, you are probably not dealing with this first scenario. Instead, you are more likely to be dealing with the second reason, which is the most common. The person just isn't that engaged, or doesn't care enough about you. Instead of confronting the situation, or communicating, choose the easiest route for them, even if it's the most painful for you. Ignore you, and stay silent. When someone suddenly pulls away from you, commonly referred to as ghosting, it's a clear sign that their interest was never strong enough from the beginning. This is an uncomfortable truth, but essential to understand. A genuinely interested person is not going to be so easily scared off or disappear out of nowhere. It's not that you've done something wrong. Rather, your emotional commitment simply wasn't deep. Imagine someone who is truly in love with you, who enjoys your company, and is committed to the relationship. This person will not see a message from you and think, "Oh, I really care. I love being with her. So what I'm going to do is ignore her completely. Pretend she didn't send me anything, and move on as if she doesn't exist." This type of behavior does not align with the logic of someone who truly values the other person. The reality is that if someone ignores you, they're not doing it because they're so in love that they don't know how to deal with their feelings. This is not a fairy tale or a valid excuse. It's not because he is so absorbed in his love that he decides to avoid you. That idea simply doesn't make sense in real life. Men who act this way do it because they don't want to give signals of something they don't feel, or because they don't care enough. It is difficult to accept, but it is better to face the truth than to live in an illusion. It is common to look for justifications. Maybe you didn't see my message. Maybe you are going through an unexpected emergency. Maybe he needs space. But these explanations, while comforting, Don't change the reality that disinterest is clearly manifesting itself. The real question you need to ask yourself is: a person who recognizes your value, who truly appreciates you, would he or she behave this way? And even if there is the slightest possibility that there is a legitimate reason, you have to ask yourself if that kind of behavior is something you deserve. No one deserves to be ignored or treated with indifference, especially by someone who claims to care about you. It is important to remind yourself that your worth does not depend on someone else's attention, or lack thereof. You must surround yourself with people who not only say they value you, but who demonstrate it by their actions. I don't know you personally, but it's clear to me that you are a valuable person, who deserves to be treated with respect and care, without excuses or games. Although it is true that sometimes we can make mistakes, and push away someone who was initially interested, that doesn't change the reality that no one deserves to be ignored. If the other person decides to walk away, their interest is no longer the same. And there is no point in running after someone who is unwilling to stay present. There is one fundamental rule in relationships that you should always keep in mind. When someone is really interested in you, they will let you know it. They won't make things difficult for you, or punish you for minor mistakes. People who truly value you will be willing to work with you, not against you. They will prioritize you, and make you feel important. Even if you slip up, it's not about perfection, but about willingness and genuine affection. Although it may hurt, someone choosing to ignore you is also an opportunity to see reality clearly. That person has just shown you that their level of interest isn't high enough, and as painful as it is, it's a gift in disguise. It saves you time and energy that you could be investing in someone who really values you. It's not worth trying to regain the interest of someone who has already shown disinterest. Although there are ways to try to lure him or her back. The question you need to ask yourself is: do you really want to fight for someone who is not willing to fight for you? There are plenty of people out there who would be happy to give you the love and attention you deserve, instead of focusing on those who don't value you. Think about all those people who dream of having the opportunity to be with you and make you feel special. Remember that you deserve someone who sees you as a priority, who is willing to stand by your side, and who will never make you question your worth. Don't waste your time on someone who doesn't know how to appreciate you. Accept that their indifference is a clear sign that it's time to move on. And open yourself up to new possibilities, with those who really want you in their life. When someone starts to ignore you, the key is how you respond to that situation. The person who is in control in a relationship is the one who knows how to stand their ground without losing their dignity. You don't need to chase those who walk away, because true strength lies in knowing how to withdraw without losing your courage. People who are really interested in you will not complicate your life or make you feel that you have to fight for their attention. A person who knows his worth will not beg or plead for the attention of someone who decides to walk away. If he distances himself, so do you. You don't need to explain yourself or look for answers where there are none. Self-confidence and self-worth is what will attract those who really deserve to be in your life. And, curiously, this detachment usually causes that those who moved away reconsider their attitude and come back to look for you, if their interest was genuine. The key is to remember that your time and energy are valuable. Stay true to yourself and don't let the attitude of others make you doubt your own value. People who truly appreciate you will be willing to be there without you having to beg. Genuine interest is shown by actions, not excuses. So keep being the confident and valuable person you are. And don't settle for less than you deserve. If someone leaves, it's not your loss. It's an opportunity to make room for those who really want you in their life. Keep growing and see you in the next video.